Welcome to Silicon Valley Immersion Program video tutorial series. This video tutorial session is designed to help you effectively apply what you learn to your personal and professional life. Here are a few tips and suggestions. We often find having a reflection session on what we learned is very helpful in order to effectively apply what we learned to our reality. You can plan this reflection session individually or with your friends or with your colleagues. For this reflection session, here are the steps we recommend. Review your objective. If you took the video tutorial session number 1 before attending the program, you may have written down a few key objectives of your trip and what you wanted to learn during the trip. Please take a moment to review what those were. Review what you learned. Then review what you wrote down on your notes and daily learning journal about each session you took, company visits, other activities you had while you visited. Compare these notes with your key objectives and learning outcomes that you originally wished to have before your trip. Highlight what struck you the most. We hope that there were many things that stood out to you while you visited USF, San Francisco, and Silicon Valley. Think about what struck you the most. Was it a company, or a new concept, or a person, or an activity, or mindset, or anything you saw and experienced that struck you the most? Highlight all the things that were memorable to you. Choose 3 things that you find most important to you out of your list. Then we would like you to select 3 things out of all the things you highlighted you feel most important to you. Create your LinkedIn or Twitter account if you don't have one. It is beneficial to have a LinkedIn account. Once you create your LinkedIn account, update the account with people you met on the trip. Consider tweeting about your experience in Silicon Valley. What is my next step? After you selected the most important 3 things, we recommend the following steps in order for you to effectively integrate your learning to your personal and professional life. It is important to identify where and how you can apply these 3 things you selected most important to you. You may not be able to try all these 3 things at the same time. We highly recommend prioritizing them. You can prioritize them in a number of different ways. For example, perhaps you could prioritize based on what is the easiest to try, or the least risky to try, or what is the most important out of all, etc. After you prioritize your 3 initiatives, let's make sure that you set the specific objectives and outcomes you expect to have for the first initiative. Also, let's make sure that you include timeline of the initiative. For example, you want to try this particular initiative for 1 month. Then we execute the plan accordingly. In order to determine whether the new initiative is successful, it is important to measure the effectiveness. Let's check if the first initiative met your objectives and outcomes you expected to have. If you find the first initiative successful, perhaps you could expand that initiative to a larger audience if you only test it in a small audience setting. If you rather want to try the next initiative, then please make sure to follow the steps we discussed earlier. If you find the first initiative not so successful, you may want to write down why it did not work. What were the challenges? Whether you need to approach differently, etc. If you find some alternative ways to try the initiative before you conclude it as a failure, we highly encourage you to try it one more time. Even after the second attempt, you find it not so successful, then you move on to your next initiative. However, it is important to reflect what you learned during this process, even though it was a failure one, because we always learn from our experience. That is also part of Silicon Valley spirit and mindset. We hope that you find this video tutorial helpful. Sometimes your experience and learning from the trip may take time to be reflected on your personal and professional life. However, we hope that your academic and experience learning journey to USF, San Francisco, and Silicon Valley will lead to a new journey to enhance your personal and professional life in the near future. We sincerely thank you for attending the Silicon Valley Immersion Program. Again, please remember to be open-minded about new things or new ideas. Make close observations on people, environment, etc. and try new things or new ideas. We want to thank you for taking this video tutorial session and look forward to hearing from you. Let's stay connected and make the better world.